Originally strategically aiming our resources on safety, health, environmental and quality, or SHEQ as we call it internally, but also with a sub-element of CSR. But our main overall compliance objective of achieving ISO 9001, 14001 and 45001 accreditation, that paradigm shift has now realigned our strategic approach to ESG, environmental, social and governance. Many people use the terms CSR, sustainability and ESG interchangeably, including business leaders, environmental experts. It kind of makes sense in a way, as both share the same goal of improving a company's business practices in order to boost profits, win favour from investors, customers and regulators. However, there's one main difference. CSR can be vague and ESG is specific, measurable, which means companies can measure and report against it. Recent developments in ESG have seen an emerging pattern of including T for technology as an additional element. So now ESGT includes cybersecurity, data protection, technological innovations. So if we delve into specific ESG market drivers by breaking down each key fundamental and critical elements such as environmental sustainability, including how we manage our commitment to climate, eco-based initiatives ensuring sustainable procurement throughout our supply chain, and compliance to the likes of ESOS and SHEQ, for example. Investing in green and clean technology, promoting diversity amongst our colleagues, but also supporting and contributing to the charity initiatives locally and UK-wide. Governance elements including compliance and legislation enhancing our business ethics with anti-money laundering, corruption and bribery, Modern Day Slavery Act, not only within our teams, but throughout our supply chain. You can see how that paradigm shift formulates into an organic strategic growth from CSR to ESGT and embeds into business mindsets of the future. And we have been building and developing a sustainable business model to fit around ESGT. Recent developments have seen us recruit key critical ESG related roles, such as a cybersecurity expert, developing and enhancing our current health and safety compliance departments. We've partnered with an external sustainability and environmental expert, and they're assisting us with our carbon compliance, and we've introduced in sustainable procurement policy across the whole business. JPC by Samsic has measured and published its greenhouse gas GHG report detailing the total gross greenhouse gas emissions from the JPC by Samsic operational activities at a client site for a period of time of 12 months. We have used the HM Government's Environmental Reporting Guideline, which is a document designed to help all organisations with voluntary GHG emission reporting. The quantity of energy consumed in buildings, the fuel consumed, the miles travelled, both green and grey fleet, employee vehicles and public transport data and emissions were collated across a whole year. The relevant carbon emission factors are then applied to each type of energy to calculate the carbon emissions. They were grouped into 3 different scopes. So included in scope 1, we had emissions from the combustion of diesel and petrol in the fleet. We had scope 2 including electricity consumed in buildings, owned or controlled by the client, but broken down into specific items of electrical equipment that was owned and used by JPC operational staff. And then examples of scope 3 emissions included business travel, waste disposal, purchase materials and employee commuting, to name a few. With all the carbon analysis, introduction of a carbon reduction plan and with the offsetting scheme implemented, we have now achieved carbon neutrality from JPC by Samsic operational activities across a key client site. The next phase was then to introduce a carbon reduction plan. So this plan identifies a prioritised list of carbon reduction projects for the next 5 years and sets out a broad approach to reduce emissions to net zero by 2030. This will primarily be achieved through initiatives such as continuously improving the energy efficiency of electric powered and cleaning equipment, reducing our supply chain carbon emissions, encouraging employees to commute using hybrid or EV transportation, reducing our own plastic and cardboard packaging within our downstream activities. But there's also going to be an additional analysis and focus based on precise water usage as we progress through our carbon reduction projects. Some of our key ESG objectives are reduce carbon emissions by 25%, implement renewable energy at all of our Samsic owned properties. We're going to start planting a tree for each and every employee across the whole Samsic global family, JPC by Samsic operations are going to be carbon neutral and an overall arching target of carbon zero by 2030.